Good evening. Would you stand with me for the invocation and pledge of allegiance, please? Councilman Rogers.
Let us pray. Our God, our Father in heaven, we're indeed thankful for this day. We thank you for all the blessings you've given to each of us here tonight. We pray that you'll be with us and guide us as we make decisions tonight for the citizens of this city. We continue to pray for those that are serving in harm's way and our armed forces abroad. Be with them, guard them, protect them. These things we pray in Christ's name, and amen.
Amen. Recorder Smith.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. We have 6 people that have signed up to speak this evening. Mr. Rogers, you will be first.
My name is Bruce Rogers. I live at 2706 River Road in Vienna. And on the agenda tonight, we have an approval to authorize an urban deer hunt. That is my side yard up there. Those of you who have been here before know or have seen this picture. Do we have a deer problem? Yes, we do. But I'll say this right now. This right here is razor blades on the end of it. And to have it close to someone's neighborhood without making some kind of stipulations is wrong. And we need to know, instead of just a carte blanche ordinance to approve deer hunting in a place in Vienna, we need to know exactly where it's going to be. When Councilman Stevens and I talked to the Department of Natural Resources, there was only 2 places, maybe 3, some on private property in North Vienna. Then we had Ohio Valley University and McDonough Wildlife Area. And I will never support hunting in the McDonough Wildlife Area at all. And for someone to have hunting on their property, they need to be aware of what is going on. And not to make stipulations and to have exact places where that can be done, I think is totally wrong. Even in North Hills, someone has to test those people that hunt. This bow right here, when you put the arrow in here, and you look at these sights right here on this bow, it's calibrated at 25, 30, and 50 yards. So when you put those sights on a target, it will hit that target. Very easily do that. And this is 30 years old, okay? And I know that this has only got 2 pulleys on it, and the most bows today have 4. And some of them even have laser sights on it to make them more accurate. And to go ahead and just say that we're going to have an urban hunt without specifying where they are and what kind of stipulations are on there, I think is totally wrong. And that's the reason why I'm here, and that's the reason why I brought this thing with me. If you've ever seen this thing, it's got razor blades on it. It's very sharp. And if you happen to be hunting on the ground and not against the hillside or out of a blind or some, so that the arrow will go in the ground, this thing, if I took a regular arrow and shot at that wall back there, it would probably go through the wall and you can see the arrow on the other side. They're very powerful, okay? So just to put an urban hunt on there is totally wrong without putting all the safety exercises into effect. And someone needs to be in charge of who in the world can hunt, how many can hunt, and everything else. And just to pass this and say we're gonna have an urban hunt is totally wrong. Second thing I'd like to say, Ms. Williams has brought this up many times, and that's information that is given out to the public. We only have one file in our Dropbox this week. The rest of them are on our website. It's not in our Dropbox. Mr. Wilson had some of the files and I went through it. That's fine, but council also needs to have some way to know it. If you're gonna put it on the website, fine. If you're gonna put it in the Dropbox or wherever, council also needs to know where those files are. Thank you.
Greg Delegati.
Hi, my name's Greg Delegati, and I live at 6 Marywood Lane, Vienna, West Virginia. I'm here also to talk about the deer kill that's proposed for this fall. My understanding is it's to be held at Ohio Valley College, Ohio Valley University, and if you read any report, these deer do not move. They move within a mile. Actually, it's like 500 to 700 feet. So if you killed every deer at Ohio Valley University, that's not going to affect one of those deer that's in on your property on River Road. It's not going to affect the deer that you see in the streets of Vienna or in Greenmont or at the park. So it's it doesn't make sense, you know, that you're going to solve that problem by going somewhere else to shoot these deer. I have just found out that this was on the agenda tonight a couple days ago, and I've been out of town, and I haven't had a whole lot of time to speak to people in the neighborhood, but I did get a petition together, and so far I've spoken to 50 people, and I've just concentrated this around the university property. And out of the 50 people I talked to, I've got names of 46 of them here that have said they do not want it, and they signed a petition not to do that. And these people are, and I've marked them on the map in red, and if I have enough time, I'm pretty sure I'd get the same results around the entire property. Understand that these are the people that this deer hunt is going to affect. And these people don't want it to happen. I've got handouts here from these are from the United States Humane Society, and it's a report showing why this does not work and is not effective, and it's a waste of time and resources. So I don't think enough study has been done into this. Here's a picture of a home, Forest Hills and Ashwood, where most of these deer reside. These people have as many or more than anybody as far as deer. They feed them. They come through there every morning, every night. And I took that picture 2 days ago, and those are her flowers. So they can be prevented from being destroyed. And I can't see, you know, I know I might be as guilty as a lot of people of driving over the speed limit, but if you're driving the speed limit in the city streets, you're not going to hit very many of these deer either. It's most likely not going to happen at all. But I can debunk just about every single reason for wanting to have this. Besides the fact he mentioned about the arrows, yes, they are extremely dangerous, but we do not have the velocity of the bullet. And shooting a target is one thing, shooting a moving target is another. They'll be hitting a lot of these deer that will not be fatal. So these deer are going to be running into the neighborhoods, bleeding, dying in front of people's houses. It's almost barbaric, given the fact that these deer can, mostly walk right up to you anyway. They're not the same thing. They're not the same animal as a white-tailed deer in the wild. Anybody have any questions for me? I'm just asking the council to please vote this down. Thank you.
Okay. Kim.
Good evening. So we have 6 speakers tonight, so my remarks will be brief and probably maybe a little unexpected. So I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the mayor and the council for having the resolutions and the ordinances available online along with the agenda. I was pleasantly surprised, happy to be able to get them, download them, and have them, and I really appreciate that. And I'm sure other people do as well, and of course available for the news media. So not sure what happened, but it's a good thing, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Janice McGinnis.
I'm Janice McGinnis. I live at 5 Marywood Lane, and I'm here in asking the council to vote down this urban deer kill. And I think Mr. Delegati explained it very well. My concerns are definitely about, does the benefit offset the risk? I don't think so. Thank you.
Jerry Nestor.
Hi, my name's Jerry Nestor, and I want to thank you for giving me an opportunity.
Jerry, I'm sorry, you have to speak into the microphone. It doesn't pick it up if you don't.
There you go. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to take up a few minutes of your time. I live at 1708 Forest Hills Drive, which the back of my yard backs into Ohio Valley University, and it's where it's wide open back there. There's a power line that runs back, so it's probably one of the most populated areas for the deer that there is in that area. And we love them. I mean, do they eat flowers? Yeah, but so don't the rabbits and the squirrels. We don't know what's eating the flowers, but sometimes they'll eat them, sometimes they won't. But there's plenty of flowers in the area. I know that I've heard my wife complain, oh, those darn deer eat my flowers, but she sure wouldn't want to get rid of them. We can come home for lunch sometime. There might be 3 or 4 deer in our front yard, maybe 5 feet from the driveway. I'll get out of the car, talk to them as I walk in. They'll look up at me, put their head back down, keep right on eating. Don't scare them at all. I mean, rather than shoot them, if they want them, come out and talk to them a little bit, and they'll go with them. I mean, you won't have to shoot them. They'll go wherever you want them to go. We have out-of-town guests come once in a while, and the highlight of their trip, whether it's young or old, is watching the deer in the backyard. When Greg came to my house the other day, as he knocked on the door, something jumped up right beside the landing. Looked down, there was a little doe. I mean, thing's not any bigger than that. And what their mothers will do is put them a place where they think safe, until they're strong enough to get away from dogs and coyotes and other things that might kill them. And that thing's been at our house now for the biggest part of the week because that's where she left it. And it's probably the same mother that left one there 2 years ago. And then she'll come back and get it when she thinks it's strong enough to move around. And, we'll jump it up. It was on my back porch 3 days ago. It had laid down by a planter. Didn't bother anything. For some reason, they haven't eaten our flowers at all this year. Ones that they normally will keep chewed down pretty good, they haven't bothered. There's a lot of them. I mean, I have, and I've got pictures on my phone with as many as 17 in my backyard area, which is 3 or 4 neighbors too, because the way we lay, our property's pretty deep, and then with the addition of the Ohio Valley University property and the Mon Power property, they've just got a free run there. The ones we see are the same ones. They're little families. I used to deer hunt. I can't do it anymore because I've got to see they're just like me and you. I mean, they have a family and they stay together. When they have young ones, the next year that young one will be with that mother and they'll have another one, and there might be 4 or 5 generations of deer out there at one time. There's different families. We've got a little apple tree out back, and sometimes you'll see them chase another one off because it's not part of their family. So they're very interesting. It's fun to watch. I know it's somewhat of a problem, but most people know that they're pretty thick around there, and they drive careful enough where I haven't seen any get hit in our area. And I think that's because the people realize they're there. I mean, you can go up there right now and drive down the road, and you'll see them eating here and eating there, not bothering anybody, not really, they don't bother other animals. And I would hate to see the deer hunt. I'm against it. I think that if there are areas where they're bothering people, maybe there needs to be something done. But if the worst thing they do is eat your flowers, they're worth a whole lot more than that, I think. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Brenda Powell.
My name is Brenda Powell. Thank you for letting me have the opportunity to speak this evening. I'm really shocked. Well, first I want to say thank you for the documents online. That I really appreciate that those are available for everybody to be able to get those. But I'm shocked this evening to find out that there was an ordinance that is actually on the agenda in regard with the deer hunt. I would have thought that Jeff McCready would have been called up here to council for the meeting and let him speak about the deer hunt, what it entails, what is going to be happening regarding it. I really thought that would happen first before that you would actually initiate an ordinance to pass to have the deer hunt. I think it's kind of like getting things ahead of cart for the horse type situation. I think that it would have been better to have done that so that people would have had a better idea of what to expect with the deer hunt. It's more than just about eating flowers. People can't have gardens. There's a lot more things, that goes along with that than just the flowers. That and the safety of the vehicles and, whatnot from all over, from 34th Street or wherever you may be, that they dart out in front of you. I appreciate you taking that into consideration, and the fact of it is that maybe have Jeff McCready come up and speak. This isn't really what I was going to talk about, but I went ahead and put this in anyway. Something that I wanted to mention to council is that I attended earlier in the month, the first Friday. No, I think it was the first Friday of this month. that the budget or the utility board meeting, asking for a public forum to be offered there at the meeting so that the public could actually interact, ask questions, and whatnot regarding that meeting also. That's not available at this time, but I'm hoping that it's something that maybe can be brought together to where that the public can have, you know, that ability to do it and have the documents also for the agenda for that meeting as well. So that's something that I wanted, that's what I actually came up here to address, that maybe the council, you know, would be aware of that and that maybe we could have that to happen at some point in time. You have anything that you want to address with me in regards to anything that I've said, you know, while I'm here at the podium? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much.
I'd like to call to order this regular session of the Vienna City Council for June the 27th, 2019. Let the record reflect that I've taken roll, that all members of council are present. Having a quorum, we will proceed. The minutes from the regular council meeting held on June the 13th, 2019 have been printed, posted, and circulated. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If there are no objections, then the minutes will stand approved as posted. Moving on into the agenda this evening, first item under unfinished business is an ordinance on second reading, amending 105.02 open market purchases, competitive bidding purchases, increasing the amount triggering the competitive bid requirement from $5,000 to $10,000. Mr. Skogstad, if you would read that ordinance for us, please, tonight.
Bless you. An ordinance amending 105.02 open market purchases, competitive bidding purchases, increasing the amount triggering the competitive bid requirement from $5,000 to $10,000. Be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that 105.02B of the Vienna Municipal Code is hereby amended as follows. B1. Except as otherwise provided herein, all purchases of materials, supplies, and equipment for the procurement by the city shall be by competitive bidding where the estimated cost or value of such materials, supplies, or equipment exceeds the amount of $10,000. B2, for the purchase of materials, supplies, and equipment for the procurement by the city, for the purchase of materials, supplies, and equipment for the procurement by the city of a value more than $1,000 and less than $10,000, the purchasing agent shall obtain and submit 3 prices from the open market of said materials, supplies, and equipment, unless said materials, supplies, and equipment are only obtainable from 2 or fewer sources. In any event, the purchasing agent shall purchase the lowest price qualifying material, supply, and or equipment.
I'll entertain a motion on second reading for the approval of the ordinance amending 105.02 for open market purchases.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve on second reading the ordinance amending 105.02. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor on second reading of the ordinance amending 105.02, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Let the record reflect it passes 5-2. Under new business this evening, we have a resolution for a CDBG amendment. Tony Tiano is here with us this evening. Tony, would you like to explain this resolution, please?
As I'm sure you're aware, aware during the last, few months, the city has been working on developing an adult playground, adult/ADA playground. And anyway, we're getting close to it finally coming together. We've written grants for most of the funding. We received a grant from the Sisters Foundation, one from Parkersburg Community Foundation, one from the McDonough Foundation, and now we are doing a budget revision to reappropriate $28,412 of CDBG funds to purchase the ADA exercise equipment and also to do the ADA walkway from the park to the ADA restroom. This money, excuse me, isn't coming from any new projects, but rather when you do a project, you have money left over. So this is funds that was left over on projects that were completed. It goes back to actually 2014, and now we're just cleaning up the books and, with your approval, putting this money toward the playground equipment.
Thank you. I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that the following amendment be made to the city's Community Development Block Grant Program to its 2014-15, 2015-16, and 2016-17 Community Development Block Grant Program budgets and its 2018-19 Annual Action Plan and budget as follows. For the year 2014, there is approximately $439.69. For the year 2015, there is $9,835, and for the year 2016, $7,152.62. Tony, do you have those numbers in front of you?
Yes.
Under 2014, am I correct on that?
There's two projects. There's one for the $439.69, and then there's also $10,984.69.
Okay, that was the question. I see it's in parentheses, so I want to make sure.
To delete it from that budget,
Okay.
yes.
All right. And then for year 2018, it is $22,980 to be added to
Yes.
that.
That
Okay?
is correct.
And also adding $5,432 to that amount.
Yeah, the $5,000 is for the walkway. The $22,980 is for the ADA equipment.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up.
No problem.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the resolution for the amendment to the city's Community Development Block Grant Programs.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution for the amendment. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, then I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the resolution, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, none. Motion passes unanimously. Tony, thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda this evening is a resolution eliminating the position of Vienna Economic Development Director. Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that the position of Economic Development Director is hereby eliminated. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the resolution eliminating the position of Vienna Economic Development Director.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution eliminating the position of the Economic Development. Is there any discussion?
Mayor, it's my opinion that we're looking at an overlap of positions with the economic development position in the city of Vienna. And knowing full well that we do have an economic development department in Wood County that also covers and works within the city limits of Vienna. We've talked about this quite a bit over the last few years, and I believe that the amount of wages, direct and indirect, that's paid to that position, I would challenge anybody to show me the return on the investment that we've had for that position over the first 3 or 4 years of its existence. You know, we asked that we get a report, and we got that. I, again, would challenge anybody to show me anything on that report of any substance that led to economic development within the city of Vienna. Attending a Rotary Club meeting is PR work. It's not economic development work. Visiting different facilities, I understand, is something that you want to always do to stay out in front to make sure that you not only have new jobs coming in, but you do whatever you need to do to have job retention. But there again, I just strongly feel that we're spending the citizens' money unnecessarily when we do this position, because it is a huge overlap with what's already taken place throughout the county.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate some stuff you're saying. You know, I've been adamant about this position for the 3 years I've been on this council. The thing with the economic development position, like Roger was saying, it's already, Wood County already represents us. You know, they cover Vienna. When I think economic development, I think about a position that brings jobs. In my 3 years I've been here, I haven't seen a big boom or anything. We've seen some stores come, we've seen some store go. But as far as taking that money to use in other parts of the city, it's a chance for us to trim down the size of the city employees. Not that we need that, you know, in a big way, but the whole thing about this position is no longer needed. I mean, I don't like I keep reiterating what you said. You know, the reports we have from the former economic development staff, they were very vague in what he did, but the return on our investment's not there. It's a chance for the city to save some money, and I'm all about that. So.
Mr. Leach?
Yeah, we have talked about this a lot. I just want to add a couple of comments. You know, first of all, the quality of life that citizens of Vienna enjoy has a lot to do with the amount of business and retail activity that goes on in Vienna. We see a lot of, like you say, development, also exit of businesses, and we have the opportunity with Manville, which is also a disputed topic, but there's been conversations that I've seen with respect to some of the blighted areas in the city of Vienna. I think my vision is that with the development of the Riverside, with the opportunity presented by Manville, we can see a continued expansion into the city of Vienna and into that block from like 28 to 34th Street, where we can see some new development. You know, I don't have this number in front of me, but roughly I believe that the salary for the economic development was about $75,000 plus the benefits. So it's called a $100,000 position, which I've mentioned before.
It's 43.
43. So it's still, even at that overestimation, the intangibles, you do the research, which I've done, I'm not going to get back into tonight, as to the benefit that position brings relative to the cost of the city. And again, the quality of life that the people in Vienna enjoy because of the tax base that we have. And you can't take that for granted. You know, we have the pressure of brick and mortar versus the Amazons of the world and the online shopping. And you have to be dynamic. So I think that it's short-sighted and ill-advised, as I've said before, to eliminate this position, and I oppose it.
If everyone's done, I'd like to make my comments on that. You know, we've had this discussion, and I've expressed myself every time of the value of having someone that goes out and represents us. I know that Mr. Conley just spoke about going to a Rotary meeting, and that is not, in his opinion, economic development. But the reality of it is, I also belong to the Rotary Club, and the mall management also belong to the Rotary Club. And so when you get an opportunity to eat lunch and discuss things in your community and the events that are on the horizon, it's a true advantage. Years ago, I was appointed to the Mid-Ohio Valley Regional Council. At that time, I went to every meeting in Vienna, was not part of any discussion. There was not a project on the list out of probably 15 pages worth of projects, and not one of them was Vienna. And so over the last 7 years, we're now included in every discussion that is held with economic development, simply because Vienna has been blessed with an explosion of new developments. And so I know I gave you these numbers last week, or last meeting. I'd simply like to update them for you. 2.5 years ago, the city of Vienna did $6 million in building permits. Last year, we did $11 million. And the number that was the current number that I had for the last 12 months was $16 million. And today, we received a check for $53,000 for the new development, for the shell just the empty building at the Grand Central Mall. It's a $7 million project, which netted us in one check $53,000. And so when you say that economic development is not something that's important, it scares me sitting in this chair looking at the future of Vienna and the future of the Mid-Ohio Valley. It's very competitive. There are only a certain number of businesses that can come. And I know that with the new development out on Route 2 that's coming with the Menards and with the new 4-lane that's coming through Mineral Wells, and all of the expansion that's going over in the Patriot Center, that there is going to be some serious competition for the businesses in the future. And this position is vacant right now. Mr. Thornton has retired. And so there is no candidate. There is no one on the horizon. I also serve on the board of directors for the Wood County Development Authority. And so I work constantly with Lindsay Pearsall, who represents Wood County. It's something that if we as a city do not continue to sell ourselves and put ourselves in every discussion, whether it's road improvements or new developments coming, we are going to be left in the dust. And that's the reality of how it works. You have to get out there and you have to put your name in every discussion that is held for the development that is coming. I will say this, maybe it needs to be a part-time position. Maybe it's something that we don't need a full-time development director anymore. Mr. Thornton, for the last 5 years, worked diligently going to Brownsfield's meeting and going to all the other municipal league meetings and things to ensure that we were covered for the Johns Manville project. And obviously we received the Brownsfield grant and we've been very successful in that project down there. As Mr. Leach said, who knows what the future holds? It's a tremendous opportunity for us. And so if council's desire is to reduce that position from a full-time position to a part-time position, I'm fine with that. We can see what works out. If it turns out that there's things that we need to be involved in, I would come back to you all and ask to increase that position. I would also tell you that no one will be hired to fill that position without council's approval. I think if that's a concern that you have about someone that has an educational background, Mr. Thornton simply had 47 years experience representing the city, from being a policeman to a councilman to recorder to where he stepped up. Paul Thornton absolutely knew every facet of the city of Vienna. We don't get people like him every day. Most people don't stay that long. And so I think we're limiting on ourselves, that this short-sighted, no vision of where Vienna could end up is not in the best interest for the economic development of our town. You all probably are not aware of this, but when the Hobby Lobby grand opening was announced, there were 67,000 hits repeating that the Hobby Lobby was opening. I went to the Chamber of Commerce board meeting on Tuesday, and Jill Parsons, the president of the Chamber of Commerce, shared that fact. 67,000 noticing the opening of Hobby Lobby. The Big Lots is opening on July the 26th. The mall is going to make the announcement very soon on the 4 new stores that are going in there. We are absolutely exploding with new development and things that are coming, and for us to get out of the economic development business is short-sighted in my opinion. And I hope that council will approve this position, and we will have a voice that can represent us at different arenas where the city of Vienna needs to be.
May I say one more thing, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I'm not advocating at all that the city of Vienna gets out of the economic development business. The city's been in the economic development business for many years. But I would make this comment. That position has been held prior to this person being hired for the economic development position by the mayor of the city. And quite frankly, sir, I believe that's your job.
Well, I thank you for your opinion. Is there anyone else who would like to comment?
No, I think when, like I say that, I never, like I said, I never said economic development is not needed. I'm just saying, once again, the return on investment from what I see, from the reports we get, the return on investment on this position, it's an overkill. We have Wood County representing us. And it's just not needed within our city. And, the Miracle Mile was created before an economic development position was created. And I don't know why it was created, but it is, and this is a chance to trim down and get rid of the position. And I hope we get enough votes to eliminate the position. I'm asking you guys to vote against the position, and because no longer it's not needed. You talk about you throw these numbers out, Mayor Rapp, and these numbers are mostly our businesses leaving and business coming in, and they're remodels. They're not new builds. I mean, they're remodeling old buildings that are already there. So it's just one of those things where the numbers are misleading as far as yeah, we bring all that money in, but we lose business and we gain them. But it's nothing related to the economic development position itself. Vienna sells itself. Like you say, we always talk. We have a great fire department, police department, great police department. Schools are great. We have a great city to live in, and to say we need an economic developer is an overkill. So I'll just reiterate that.
I don't know if you paid attention last meeting, Mike, to the reconciliation of funds that Mr. Conley brought. Okay, if you still have them, take a look at them when you go home tonight. If you look at that from 4 years up to now, you'll notice that the city's net worth has went from $17 million to $20 million. The growth of this city, whether we lose a business or we gain a business, the city of Vienna is very, very progressive, and we are growing. The one check that we received today for $53,000 from one building permit will cover that salary. Won't cover the benefits, but it'll more than cover that entire salary. And I'm telling you, you have to be in the conversation or you get left out. That's just all I have to say. Anything else? All right.
I just had one.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
There. I've seen through the years, a lot of stuff has come. I also know that I personally lived through a section of time where the city of Vienna was pretty stagnant. I think that you do have to have a vision for the future, and I think we're heading in a very good direction. I'm not totally convinced that at this point, like the mayor even mentioned, that we need a full-time economic development. But to actually do away and eliminate the position altogether, I can't see that happening. I think that also will be a step backward, because you do in fact have to go everywhere. The man does here. I see him go every day. I have to schedule time to get him to sign things and stuff. He is very busy and active, going to multiple meetings. Is it part of his job? Yes, it is. But he's only one person. You can't do all of it and continue to grow and move toward the future. Like I say, I think personally right now we at least need a part-time position. And as we see things coming, then possibly expand that to a full-time position.
All right, I'll call for the question then. All those in favor of the resolution eliminating the position of the Vienna Economic Development Director, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Motion's denied, 4-3. The next item on our agenda this evening is a resolution to change the starting hourly rate of pay for a new hire police officer. Ms. Smith, if you'd read that, please.
Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna, the hourly pay rate for a new hire police officer is $18 per hour with all regular benefits effective July 1st, 2019.
I'll entertain a motion for the approval setting the starting hourly rate of pay for a new hire police officer at $18 per hour.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution changing the starting hourly rate of pay to $18 per hour. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, then I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the resolution changing the starting hourly rate of pay for a new hire police officer to $18, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously. The next item is the resolution authorizing the City of Vienna to apply to the State of West Virginia for permission to conduct an urban deer hunt for the year 2019. I'd like to make a couple comments on this before we go to the motion set of this. You know, for the last 3 years, the Department of Natural Resources has come to the City of Vienna and asked us to do an urban deer hunt. We worked extensively with Jeff McCready. Jeff McCready has been involved in this process from the beginning. Chief Pfeiffer, myself, code enforcement have worked diligently with the Department of Natural Resources to even consider the possibility of having an urban deer hunt. We've reached out to the City of North Hills, to the City of Parkersburg, who both have urban deer hunts. It was brought up this evening, why didn't we bring Mr. McCready here this evening? Mr. McCready's retiring. He is leaving. And so I believe that Jeff's last day will be the 30th of this month. And so I don't know who the new DNR officer will be, but Jeff McCready has been a valuable asset in providing information to the City of Vienna. He was in charge of the hunt on Blennerhassett Island for many years, and he understands the dynamics of the hunt. In the discussions that we had with both Jeff and the mayor of North Hills and the person that was in charge of the City of Parkersburg, there were very strict guidelines for the safety issues that were considered. Before you would ever be able to hunt, you had to qualify. You had to prove that you could actually hit what you were shooting at. And if you couldn't, you would not be issued a permit. And unfortunately, we did not get a definite set of rules because we were still in discussions with Parkersburg and North Hills trying to figure out what they learned from their lessons. And the number of deer that were killed in North Hills was a very, very small number. It would not have made much difference in the total number, like Mr. Nestor said, 17, Jerry, at one time. Okay, I don't think they killed that many in the hunt at all. You know, I think the 10 was the most they ever did. But we were doing our absolute best to make sure that it was as safe as it could possibly be, and that it would actually have an impact on the deer population. Probably the deer has been the second biggest complaints that I've received, ranking right up behind cats. But at any rate, you know, we had incidences in Forest Hills where a lady, a doe attacked her. And so there have been other incidences, but the fact of the matter is we did do our due diligence. We've had the DNR involved since day one. We reached out to gather every bit of information that we could. And I'm also a hunter. I've hunted my whole life. I would not participate in an urban deer hunt, but it's an issue that a lot of citizens have called and complained about. And so, you know, I think it's a duty of the city council to be responsive, and that's the reason why we put this on the agenda tonight. City council makes that decision. If it's turned down, then the City of Vienna will not apply for a permit for an urban deer hunt. The permit has to be applied for by August 1st, and so the deadline was approaching, and so that is the reason why it is on the agenda this evening. Chief Pfeiffer, any comments from you?
No, I don't have any
we were diligent, and I learned a lot, I can tell you that, from Jeff McCready and that situation, so, I think it is proper for council to go forward and see what their feeling is with the, I was integrated into the conversation, I'm sure, for a safety factor. I'm not a bow hunter, but from everything I heard, you know, I can't guarantee safety, of course, no one can. But given the circumstances, I think in the area, that would probably be the safest place to ever have an urban deer hunt that we're talking about. Much safer than a few landowners putting their land together, so. There was a lot of things talked about. Like I said, I learned a lot. There was a lot of rules talked about. Ultimately, that was all.
Okay.
Mayor, if I could ask you, it seems like there was some confusion. They thought that this was an ordinance that would create.
It is,
urban
would you
area.
like to clarify the difference between an
Yes.
ordinance and a resolution?
This is just a resolution that would be the first step in the process. There were some questions at the public forum that said, why would we implement an urban deer hunt without any rules? Well, you have, before you begin your rule-making process, you want to find out from the state if you're even going to have permission to do it. If this resolution would pass, it would be my opinion that the next step would be to draft a set of rules, a permitting system, a fine system, and so forth that would be brought before council so that council could have its input before any urban deer hunt could be implemented. And the last thing, Vienna Municipal Code 54512 would also have to be amended. Even if this resolution were passed tonight by council, it is still illegal in the city of Vienna to, quote, throw, shoot, or propel an arrow, missile, pellet, stone, metal, or other similar substance capable of causing physical harm to persons or property in or on any place, in or on the property of another, or from any private property into or onto any public place or the property of another. So even if this were to pass, that would have to be amended to facilitate any type of bow urban deer hunt.
Lieutenant Kevin Parrish, who retired from the Vienna Police Department, was in charge of this. There would have been a limited number of permits issued. They would have been for specific areas. One of the reasons why they came to us and asked us to consider having a hunt up there, a lot of their students are foreign. They're not used to being around deer. And there were some concerns about, Jerry, they're not like you and I who've been around deer our whole life. And there was some fear that they might be attacked, okay? And so that was the reason why that they were offering that large tract of ground to do that. But having said that, that's where we're at in this, and this is simply an approval to allow us to apply for the permit. If it's council's desire, that is something that needs more study, or is something that you do not feel that is necessary. If you simply vote no, then we will stop the process, and we will take a look at it another year or not at all. Okay? Back to you, sir.
A resolution authorizing the city of Vienna to apply to the state of West Virginia for permission to conduct an urban deer hunt for the year 2019. Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that the mayor and/or his designee is hereby authorized to apply to the state of West Virginia for permission to conduct an urban deer hunt within the corporate limits of the City of Vienna for the year 2019.
I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the resolution authorizing the city of Vienna to apply to the state of West Virginia for permission to conduct an urban deer hunt for the year 2019.
So moved.
Motion fails for lack of a second. We'll move on. The fifth item on our agenda this evening is an ordinance on first reading, amending and reenacting certain building codes for the year 2019. This is an update from the West Virginia State Fire Commission. It raises the ANSI 2007 edition to the 2010 edition. ANSI stands for American National Standards Institute, and it is the manufacturing standards for products and installation practices. This is being brought to us from the Building Inspection Department to comply with the West Virginia State Fire Commission. So I'll entertain a motion for the ordinance on first reading. Wow.
I would suggest.
Reading by title?
Read it by title.
There you go. An ordinance amending and reenacting certain building codes, the 2019 West Virginia State Fire Commission updates. Be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that the State Fire Commission Energy Rule Title 87, Series 4, 87 CSR 4, and also referred to as the State Building Code, a copy of which is attached for further reference, is hereby adopted and amended and reenacted. I'll entertain a motion for the approval on first reading, updating the building codes for the 2019 West Virginia State Fire Commission updates.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve on first reading an ordinance amending and reenacting certain building codes. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, then I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the ordinance amending on first reading, amending and reenacting certain building codes, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, motion carries unanimously.
And a copy of that is available to all council members. There should be a copy of that at the library, along with all of the documents that are being changed. And a notice will be run in the paper for 1 week prior to the next council meeting, before that council does the second vote.
It is not at the library until it is approved. The old one is there.
No, well, we'll talk after the meeting.
There you go. You can get it from the building inspector if it's something you want to read.
Well, we'll talk after the meeting.
Okay. Lost my agenda.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Must only be a building code.
The last item on our agenda is a ordinance on first reading amending Vienna Municipal Code 521.09 A/5 to reflect the changes in West Virginia state law which allow for Sunday alcohol sales beginning at 10 a.m. Mr. Skogstad,
The legislature, and I can't remember that.
Senate Bill 561.
Thank you. Recently changed how the brunch bill, I guess you would call it, has been implemented. It's now legal statewide, and they changed the procedure. Before, the county commission had to call for an election to allow the municipalities to participate. That was the default. The bill is now changed, or the default position is that the Sunday brunch bill is Sunday morning alcohol sales at 10 a.m. is now legal unless the county holds an election, essentially barring it. Our ordinance is drafted essentially to reflect what state code is, but in doing so, the state changed a subparagraph from double P to double Q. Our ordinance says double P, so to eliminate any argument and to keep there from being any kind of a conflict with West Virginia state law, this is the amendment that's been put forth.
Sometime back, this council acted on that brunch bill and turned it down.
Roger, may I read it first, and then you can do it under under your comments?
Well, yes, you may.
Thank you, sir. Be it ordained by the Common Council of the City of Vienna that as per the changes in West Virginia Code 11-16-18, 60-7-12, 60-8-34, and 7-1-3 SS, in effect upon passage, the municipal code of the City of Vienna is hereby amended to read and be in as follows. This puts us in alignment with West Virginia State Code. I'll entertain a motion for the approval of this on first reading.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the ordinance on first reading. Mr. Bibby.
I was just curious, due to the fact that we did act on this some time back and in fact turned it down. But as I understand the reading and the way it's listed, this is just to put us in compliance with state law. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Uh,
We did not do this. Senate Bill 561 actually changed this. The legislature did it in the last session. This is, I mean, it's just, we don't set the code, they did.
Are we obligated to do that?
Yes, sir. Well,
Are
we'd
you
be-
asking me if we're obligated to adopt this?
Yes.
No. You can, if you don't adopt it, Parkersburg's adopted it. If you don't adopt it, the Parkersburg businesses have a competitive advantage that the Vienna businesses don't have. But that's up to you all to decide. The state's approved it. The county commission, and I've checked with them, have not done anything to prevent you from doing it. The difference between last time and this time, when we passed last time, we were going to proceed under home rule. The state code was then was changed in the meantime, allowing for the brunch bill with the countywide election, and it was then changed again earlier this year to allow for statewide Sunday 10 a.m. alcohol sales. But all this amendment, actually I went back and looked, and when the city adopted, Walter Drain submits those ordinances that adopt all the different criminal codes so that we're compliant with all the criminal codes. This falls under one of the criminal statutes. The city has actually adopted the old statute in spirit in some way. You've passed this, except the language in the ordinance that we have in place now says, we don't have Sunday alcohol sales before 1 p.m. unless there is a change in West Virginia code, and I can't remember the site. And it refers to that old double Q subsection, which has now been updated to, I want to say it's double S. I can't remember. I looked at this. I've had a busy couple of weeks. But either way, we've already in some respect adopted this. There's an argument in place that the intent of the statute that we have already allows this. The businesses could argue that the city's already allowed this, and all this does is clean it up. And all it does is put us in compliance with or have us operating under the same state code that everybody else is.
So this is not us bringing this forward, Roger. This is simply to get our ordinance in line with West Virginia State Code.
So if we vote against this, ours stays at 1 o'clock the way it is now? Is that correct?
I don't know, Mr. Skogstad's the attorney, but I do believe if this were challenged, that we would comply with state code. Russ, why don't you answer that?
Well, my opinion as it stands now with the way the ordinances that we presently have on the book, there's certainly an argument there that this has already been passed. But because it says that we're supposed to rely on that subsection was updated subsequently, but it's essentially the same thing. So I'm saying you are going to have to go back and do a different amendment to explicitly ban pre-1 o'clock alcohol sales in order to take that argument away. Hopefully that's clear as mud. The problem is our code is now, our municipal ordinance is the way that it was adopted by council, and those mass adoptions of ordinances has now created a problem where the businesses have an argument that we've already adopted the statute. This cleans it up and puts us in, makes our laws uniform with state law.
I think they got 561 wrong, so I will oppose this.
Any further discussion? And I'll call for the question. All those in favor of the ordinance amending Vienna Municipal Code 52109 to reflect the changes in West Virginia state law which allow for Sunday alcohol sales beginning at 10 a.m. Please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Motion carries 4-3. That concludes our agenda this evening. Now we open it up for council comments.
I'd like to see if we get the, since the economic development is being kept, I'd like to get on the next agenda to make it part-time. Can I do that tonight?
You can go ahead.
All right.
Any other council comments? I have one announcement then. Actually, I have two announcements. The Vienna Utility Board meeting scheduled for July the 5th will not be held on the 5th. It will be held on the 12th due to the 4th of July holiday. The next council meeting will be a regular council session scheduled for July the 11th, 2019 at 7 p.m. With that, yes, ma'am.
I wanted to mention what has been talked about a couple times on the agenda. It was posted on the website. I scampered around and got all those things. Luckily, they were available and to allow me to do that in a timely fashion at the same time the agenda for this council meeting was done. Now, we have an upcoming budget and finance meeting on Tuesday, July the 2nd. There's been supposedly people have asked for that agenda, which was just posted yesterday, as well as those documents. I just want to let everybody know that those documents are not available. They, things listed on that budget and finance agenda have bid openings listed. The sealed bids are not going to be opened for those relative to those items on the agenda until the day before, on Monday. The budget and finance meeting is on Tuesday. So those documents are not even available. They do not exist yet until after those sealed bid openings. So that will happen on Monday. The finance department will gather the information from those sealed bids, prepare the documents, and then I will get them. So it looks at this point like none of those documents are going to be available until late Monday afternoon. It's not a matter of, there again, that we're being transparent, that we don't want you to have them. We don't have the information yet. So I wanted to make that known, you know, so that you all would know that, you know, we can't give you something we don't have yet. But as soon as I get them, I will tell you, I will try my best to get them on that website as quickly as we can. Okay?
Would you please clear up the issue about the Dropbox also?
Somebody has requested that the public be given access to the Dropbox. I recommend highly against that. The smart aleck remark is if you want access, well, I'm not going to give you the smart aleck remark. I'll just keep that in my pocket. But those are not public records. That's information that's used and disseminated to council. There are going to be documents in there that are not public records at different occasions that the public is not either entitled to nor should they see. There will be documents that the public is entitled to that fall as public records, but my recommendation is that is a method for council to use to give information. Well, that's a way to get information to council, and the information goes to the public on the website and through the council meeting.
The files weren't on Dropbox this time, just one agenda, and that was it. The rest of it was on the other.
I'll tell you why. I was scampering around to make sure that these people got those documents they've been requesting, that my normal routine was interrupted. So I didn't get those things in our Dropbox, and I do apologize for that.
If I'd known about it, I'd helped you.
But they'll be on the website.
But they are on the website. And they'll be in the Dropbox the next time.
All right.
I do want to thank the Marywood Lane crew and the Forest Hills crew coming out and talking and addressing the council. That speaks loudly, so I like your passion for what you have up there. So thanks for coming out and speaking to council. That helps.
All right. Meeting adjourned.